When I was in the 7th grade, I didn't look like this. I was shorter, I was chubbier, really thick glasses. I basically looked like the Black Harry Potter, except I didn't have any magic powers or friends. And I remember walking through the lunchroom one day in the 7th grade, and I see these kids sitting at a lunch table, and they're making all this noise, and they're having a good time. And I walk a little closer, and I see they're like slapping cards down, and they're pronouncing names of words that I didn't even know. And I was like, hey, what is that? And I asked this kid, Daniel, and he was in my English class, and he's like, oh, this is Yu-Gi-Oh! And I was like, Yu-Gi-Oh! And he's like, yeah, just go home at 4:30, it comes on, channel 11, just watch it, and then just come back here. So I get home that day, and I watch Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. It's a Japanese card game, and I got addicted. And I started watching it in like Japanese. I was like looking up like how to get the cards and the Yu-Gi-Oh! Dual Disc, and then I showed up to school the very next day, and I was like, hey, you got to teach me. I'm on board. And he's like, cool. So we sit down, and these guys become like my friends, and they became my motley crew. Like we were doing everything together, and I literally like got the Yu-Gi-Oh! Dual Disc. I started like getting the like keychain. I had the T-shirts. I had the posters. I was watching in Japanese and in English. I was reading the books, and we would always go to these like Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournaments, and you'd play against other people, and you'd win cards, and it'd be a great time. But they'd always be like around our school. And I remember Daniel was telling us about this one tournament. It was going to be on a Saturday at this place called King's Games, like right off the Q train stop. And I was like, cool, I'll just get my dad to drop me off. My mom and dad are separated, but my dad drives a taxi. And I was like, cool, I'll show up in a taxi. It's going to be cool. It's going to be cool. And my dad comes picking me up Saturday morning, bright yellow taxi. I get in the front seat. I'm sitting there. It's a very quiet ride. And we pull up to King's Games, and he's like, what is this? And I was like, don't worry, it's just some fun stuff. And because there's kids lined up, and I get out the cab, and I'm like, yo, what's up? And everyone's like, yo, you were in the taxi? I was like, yo, what's up? And they're like, but you were in the front seat. And I was like, yeah, there's something going on in the back. Don't worry about it. So we're standing there, we're just talking, having a good time. And then my dad pulls up in again, and he's like, hey, I'll be there at 4. And everyone's like, why is your driver yelling at you? And I was like, don't worry about it. Let's just go inside King's Game. So we went inside, and it's a tiny little shop. And inside there's different memorabilia from different TV shows, different video games. There's like all this really cool stuff, really cool retro stuff in the front. And downstairs is where the magic happened. It was Yu-Gi-Oh! Fight Club. It smelled like virginity and whatever inhalers smell like. And that's where we just battled against each other, one-on-one battles. And I lost track of time. Like I was playing, having a good time with all my friends. And I asked my friend Shunman, I was like, hey, what time is it right now? And he's like, it's 5:30. And I was like, oh no. So I run upstairs with all these kids, and I see my dad like perusing the store. And I was like, hey, let's just get out of here. And he kind of looks at me like really strange. And we get in the car, and we're driving. It's another quiet ride. He doesn't ask how anything was. And then we pull up to the front of my apartment, and he's like, hey, I'm going to come upstairs and talk to your mom. And I was like, cool, yeah, it doesn't matter to me. As soon as I get upstairs, my mom's like, hey, how's that thing? And I was like, yeah, it was all right. And my dad comes up right behind me, and he's like, hey, did you know that Andrew's in a gang? My mom's like, in a gang? I was like, in a gang? And he's like, yeah, he's in the Yakuzas. I saw him come out this basement with all these Korean people. And I was like, wait. That's wrong. Is not the Yakuzas. They're Japanese for the Yakuzas, but I'm not in a gang. What are you talking about? And he's like, no, he's in the Yakuzas. They let me buy a weapon over there. And I was like, they let you buy a weapon? He's like, yep, I bought a weapon. And he pulls out this black bag, and he reaches inside, and he pulls out this blade, and it literally said Blade 2 on it. You know, Blade 2, Wesley Snipes movie. And he's like, yeah, this is the Blade 2. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, it's a Blade 2 cut people. I was like, no, it's not. It's from a TV show. And he's pulling out all these attachments. My mom's freaking out. I was like, guys, I'm not in the Yakuza. I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh! You got it all wrong. And I pull out my Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards, and I proceeded to explain Yu-Gi-Oh! To my superstitious, religious Haitian parents. And I was like, guys, this is the Dark Magician. He has 25,000 attack points, 3,000 life points. These are all the spell cards that I use. There's different polymerization cards. And they're like, oh, no. And I'm like, guys, I'm going to just double down. So I was like, I'm going to just tell you the history of Yu-Gi-Oh. So once upon a time, there were these different Egyptian pharaohs, and they battled all these different gods, and they took all these demons, and they put them in the cards so they can battle the gods. And when you lose, you get sent to a shadow realm. So the shadow realm is a place, it's darkness, it's devoid of light. That's where your soul goes if you lose. And I just don't want to lose. And it's just quiet. And my mom touches my dad's shoulder. I've never seen this before. And they both look up at me and they're like, all right, you're not in a gang. You're not in a gang. You're possessed by a demon! And I laughed. And just a side note, if anyone ever accuses you of being a demon, don't laugh. Because it makes you look like more of a demon. And I'm sitting there freaking out. They're like, oh, we need to get the oils, close the door, lock it, get them, touch them. And I'm sitting like, no, please, no, it's Yu-Gi-Oh. And they proceeded to do Haitian corporal punishment. If you don't know what that is, it's kind of like an Adele song. It's very simple and slow. But at the end, everyone's going to cry. Might even sound British. But that wasn't the worst part. Because after that, they're like, you have to burn those cards. I was like, burn the cards? I was like, no, just do what you did before. I can't burn these cards. This is my identity. These are my friends. I can't do this. This is Shun Man Dan. They're like, no, you have to burn those cards. So I remember standing over the sink and just burning card by card, memory after memory. Just, this is the Dark Magician that I won with Daniel. This is the Blue Eyes White Dragon that we beat that thing. I worked so hard. I saved up so much money for these cards, and card by card, memory after memory, just tears all over the floor, and all the cards were in a pile of ash in the kitchen sink. And I thought that was it. I thought that was the worst part. And then they're like, you also have to take the posters off and throw all that stuff away. It's all demonic. So I threw it all out. And then on Sunday, I had to go to church. And I was in a heavy suit, and they sat in the front, and they're like, hey, we're going to pray for Brother McGill. He had a bout with a Yu-Gi-Oh demon last night. If you could just stretch your arms out, and we'll pray for him. And then on Monday, I had to go to school. And I remember walking into that lunchroom, and my friends are in that same spot, and they're having a good time. They're laughing like they usually do. And I was like, what am I going to do? I can't go over there and, tell them, yeah, guys, my parents thought I was a demon, and I had to burn all my cards. You can't do that in middle school. So I did what any, middle schooler does. I just pretended to be cooler. I was like, yeah, man, I'm just going to talk to girls now, because that's what I do. And I just didn't sit with them anymore. And I never played Yu-Gi-Oh again. And I think my parents would have wanted me to continue playing Yu-Gi-Oh, because after that, I got into online chat rooms where I catfished people. Thank you.